We are live, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to Testimonial Tuesday. I am Jeff Berger of Abundance and Optimum Wellness, physically, mentally, and financially, also known as your holistic mental wellness gladiator. Before I formally introduce my special guest tonight, many of you have followed my holistic journey, and my mission with these weekly interviews is really to bring light, an area of health and wellness that is not getting in front of mainstream media. And it really does need to get in there. So my guests that I bring on board, we want to bring special nuggets and share stories and information to really enlighten people and encourage people. As a certified health and integrative wellness coach, I am actually partnered with, as well as my special guest, Cindy, with the only holistic mental wellness company focusing on the microbiome, which is the gut-brain axis health today. And I say this is the science that's disrupting the health and wellness industry today. Why? Because Hippocrates was the first who documented all disease starts in the gut. And we're really coming to fruition about this. So if you are joining us live, let us know where you're coming in from. And if you're going to catch us on the replay, let us know where you are. And the replay will circle around and answer any questions that you have for us. So now, without any further ado, I would like to welcome my guest who comes from Greenwich, Connecticut. I'm actually in Western New York now. I live in Cape Coral, but I'm up in Western New York. Freezing here. And she is the mother of 2 young adults. Her partner is Robert Kornfeld, and she is a 30-plus year pediatric nurse practitioner who chose holistic mental wellness and left a corporate position to go out on her own. I'd like to welcome Cindy Franks Weschsler. Welcome, Cindy.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you for coming on board. I'm so happy and excited to be talking to you tonight. So tell us and the viewers, we do have a couple of views here. Hey, Melissa, thanks for joining us. And Billy, thanks for joining us from Cape Cod. Actually, Melissa's from Florida. But share a little bit about who Cindy is.
So I'm Cindy Wexler. As you said, I live in Connecticut. Actually, I'm a native New Yorker. I graduated from Yale with my master's in nursing back in 1990, and I have been working as a nurse practitioner for the past 30 some odd years. I truly love working with the kids, and it's just been very rewarding. I think over my 30 years, though, I have really noticed how health has declined, not just with adults, but with kids. And it was very, concerning to me. And early in my career, probably 10 years into my career, I started looking at other options and other alternative options, because I grew up where, Western medicine was all that it was. And that's pretty much what I knew. That's what my training was through. And I started questioning things. And for me, it was really the start with nutrition and what food does to our body and how that interacts and can help us or hurt us. And that's really where I started my journey, just delving into different nutrition programs. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to know.
Awesome. That's great. And, there's so much information out there, and it's what do we believe? What don't we believe? When I got started, I couldn't believe how much different information was out there from or outside of what my doctors were leading me on my path, which was really not a good path, come to find out. And I think that one of our missions here is to really share some of that unknown information with other people, because it is important. We do have different options that are available to us that many of us have found, but we need to share that with others who are really looking. So with that, we talked about this holistic mental wellness, and we're really coming to understanding the importance of gut health and the significance it has in regards to our physical and mental well-being. So why did you choose holistic mental wellness? Because if I remember your story correctly, you were approached with some other protocols and with different companies, and different platforms and stuff like that, but it never resonated with you. But years later, this particular protocol really rang true to your heart. So share that with us.
So again, I think part of it was just working in pediatrics and just seeing an increase in kids' anxiety and depression and attention deficit focusing issues. And I really started having a hard time with just medicating and not getting to the root cause, because that's really what I'm all about, is finding what the root cause is and not putting a bandage on a problem. And I'm not saying that, there's not a time and place for medication, but, there are so many parents out there that don't know that there are other options. And let's be honest, medication comes with side effects. So you're fixing one thing, but then causing something else. So I actually started, feeling anxious at work every time I had to, treat somebody. And, through my own journey, as I said, I learned that there were other alternatives and people at least needed to know about them and make a choice. For me, and especially in pediatrics, the kids don't have a choice because the parents are pretty much making the decision for them. And the parents really needed to be educated on what else is out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's so important. And really today, I mean, when I was growing up back in the 60s and the 70s, we didn't have ADHD. We didn't have, child diabetes and all of the diseases that are out there today. And it's really it's really devastating, if you will, to see all this happening today. And I'm going to just say, through my own research, I find that a lot of this is, much of this is contributed to many of the processed foods that we're eating, because they're chemically treated, and these chemicals actually have an adverse reaction and effect on our gut health, from a physical perspective as well as a mental, because they're all related together. So, you talk about the children and wanting to address them in different introductions, especially to the parents, to educate them. But you actually went through your own journey because you wanted to try this protocol before you wanted to introduce it to your patients. Isn't that correct? And share your journey and what you found specifically for you.
So my journey, as I said, really started about 25 years ago, where I started looking at changing my diet and finding that, taking certain foods out of my diet, like dairy, really helped with my allergies and congestion that I had, chronic congestion. I started eating what I always thought was a healthy diet, but I started eating a healthier diet. And then I started doing exercising. One of the things I didn't mention was I did get into bodybuilding.
I was just going to say that. Tell us about your bodybuilding. I forgot to mention that. Yes.
So I just became obsessed. I was never an athlete. I was never into exercising, always intimidated at the gym. And I just, one day, one of my coworkers, because I was always the youngest at work, one of my coworkers said, "Oh, when you hit a certain age, that's it. The body goes down the tubes." And I said, "Well, that's not happening here." And I just started doing fitness. My goal was to get into a fitness magazine and just prove that just because you're in your 40s doesn't mean that, things go downhill. And one thing led to another. One of the coaches that I had was into bodybuilding, and he kept encouraging me to do it. And I said, no. And eventually I did. I started doing bodybuilding and stepping on stage, and it just opened up a whole other world for me. But through all of that, with every good thing that you do, sometimes you don't realize how damaging that could be to your body. So, I limited my diet at that point, where I was eating healthy, but I was eating, I think, too much of certain foods, which then didn't give me all the nutrients that I needed. And that really spiraled me. And I started having a lot of stomach issues. I started with irritable bowel. Plus I had a lot of injuries and was dealing with a lot of chronic pain from my bodybuilding and from injuries. So I did delve into doing more natural therapies and different new supplements. And I did get better, but I never got 100% better. And then I was introduced to this holistic mental wellness company from a friend of mine, actually my very first coach. And Mr. Ray. And it was at a point in my career where I was looking to start my own practice, and a very specialized practice where I really focused on gut health. And it was almost like the missing link for me, because when I looked at the supplements, and I was really focused on the kids' supplements, I got very excited because everything in it was everything, like there wasn't anything in it that I wouldn't put into my own body. And it was everything I've been studying up until this point about, the microbiome and gut health. So before I would even introduce it to any of my clients, my patients, I said I would need to, try it. And I mean, it just really was life-changing for me. Within the first, I'd say, few days, I noticed that I just had this incredible sense of resilience. And the only way that I can describe it is like being almost in a bubble and hearing everything around you. Because I worked in an office that was just not conducive for me. It just was not a good fit. So it was a very stressful environment. Sure. And I would be there and nothing there changed, but and I'd just sit there and smile because it was like everything kind of bounced off of me. And I felt like I was able to deal with stress so much better. My stomach issues not got better, but they literally went away. And this was again after doing other supplements, natural supplements. It just didn't ever clear up fully. Now, and even food sensitivities that I had, I mean, I've been able to reintroduce foods into my diet that I had given up for, years. But what was most impressive, I mean, I was able to even sleep better. But what was most impressive to me and really, I mean, hooked me forever was the fact that I'm totally pain-free. And it just proved to me that there is such a connection between the gut and the brain and the inflammation that we have in our body. And once you really balance everything out and you, as I say, tame the flame in your gut, it makes the world of difference. Absolutely. That's so amazing because, the stories that you hear, the stories that I hear and talking with people, there are a lot of great products out there that do specific things, but people are looking for products that you were looking for, got you to a certain point, but it didn't get you that 100%, because the science today is now discovering that there are certain strains of probiotics that aid in gut repair. It also aids in reducing your cortisol levels and balancing out anxiety, depression, all those things, because they all related through the communication of the neurotransmitters between the gut and the brain via the vagus nerve. So that's awesome. So great story. And I'm sure your kids are having some amazing results in their own journey, and the parents have to be thrilled, right? The parents are thrilled, and this is great, and it's all about people relating to other people's stories, And go ahead. I was going to say, and I think especially now, with the amount of stress that families are dealing with their kids, with the hybrid schooling and kids just being frustrated. I mean, some kids just do not do well sitting in front of a screen. I mean, I think the screen has a major impact on all of us, but the kids are really suffering. So to be able to reduce some of that, some of the stress, some of the anxiety, helping them to be able to focus more. And some of the other side benefits are, I've seen patients who, have been better with their skin issues, with their eczema, who have been having years of constipation where now they're able to go to the bathroom better. I mean, it's been great. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback. Awesome. That's great. So we're kind of coming up to the end here, and
one of the things that I love is this planting the seed at the end, the nugget. And I always learn something new from my guests. So what's one thing you would like to share with our viewers who might be looking for that one glimmer of hope? Because I was looking for hope back before I was introduced to this, because of my path was really detrimental. And, that glimmer of hope to improving their physical and or mental well-being, what would that be?
I think the one thing I would want people to take away is just give it a go. I mean, you really have nothing to lose, right, and you have everything to gain. There are generally, there's no side effects. It's not overnight. You're not going to see an overnight, wow, I feel amazing. I mean, it took me time. I think, for me, and again, I was already on that path of being healthy and eating healthy. So maybe within the first month is when I really noticed, wow, I'm pain-free. And it's been probably, I want to say 15 months that I've been pain-free, but it has literally changed my life. So be open-minded. Don't be closed-minded. Give it a go. I mean, it really can give you a better quality life. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Cindy Wexler, for your words of wisdom and sharing your story. I appreciate you so much for coming on board tonight and being a part of a Tuesday testimonial. So wishing you all the best. We have a big mission here, and we're going to do this. And Melissa says thank you. And actually, Melissa is from Connecticut originally. I don't remember what town, but she lives in Fort Myers, and she's part of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman, and she's all about holistic options as well. So thank you, Cindy, and thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. And join us next week at, she says Plainville, Connecticut. Do you know where that is, Cindy?
Yeah. Okay. Not close, but yeah.
Right. Okay. But yes, join me next week with Seth Clark. He has an incredible, incredible story. And look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome evening. Stay safe and keep that immune system primed.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Cindy.